Well, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Peterson, and I'm a senior studying public relations with an emphasis in nonprofit and ministry. It seems like just yesterday I was packing up my Jeep with my family in Minnesota, getting ready to head out and road trip to California as I almost began my freshman year at Biola. And now, in what feels like just a single blink, I'll be graduating in May. It has been an absolutely incredible and unexpected journey, and today I'm going to reflect on my college experience with a public relations or RPI twist. So with that, let's get started, and I'll explain what an RPI is. All public relations professionals understand the importance of organizing a PR campaign in a logical format. So one of the best ways to do this is through an RPI, which is a model that stands for research, programming, implementation, and evaluation. So today I'll be going through each step of the RPI and applying it to my college experience as if it were a PR campaign. I'll research who I am and how I got to Biola, go over my goal statement in the programming section, look at the action step in the implementation part, and then overall evaluate my experience. So first, let's kick it off and we'll talk about research. Research is the part of the RPI where you really focus on learning as much as you can about your client. It's important that you have all the foundational knowledge going into the other steps so you really know who they are and what they're all about. So if we were to apply this to my college experience, I tell you that I'm from Andover, Minnesota. I love people and being involved. I grew up in a Christian home, and I really just came to Biola to escape the Minnesota cold and to try something new. I was really afraid to move across the country by myself, but from the second I visited Biola when I was 16, I knew I had to be here in some way, in some form, someday. I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do with my life, and I didn't feel like I had a strong calling of my career, but I knew I wanted to work with people, and Biola seemed like a really good place to do that. I was actively involved in high school, and I really care about doing something that's going to impact positive change. I have 2 cats. I love to golf, and traveling is one of my favorite things to do. I really love my family and spending time with my friends, and I really value just doing fun things in life. So learning as much as you can about your client is really important. So now we're going to apply all the background knowledge about me and a little bit of my history into the next step, which is programming. So programming is the process of mapping out your plan that includes a goal statement, objectives, audiences, strategies, and ultimately tactics. So if we were to look at my own goal statement as a college student, I would say it would be to grow as a person and leader professionally, academically, socially, and spiritually within my 4 years as a student at Biola University. So now we break down that goal statement into different objectives, audiences, strategies, and tactics. So this is what that would look like for me and my college experience. So from my goal statement, my first objective would be to growing professionally and academically. And my audience for this would be my professors, my family, and my employers. And my strategy would be to get involved and to try new things in college relating to my professional development and my academics. So the different tactics I did in college to try to accomplish this would be my involvement in the Public Relations Student Society of America, leadership in 6th Street PR and the Student Government Association, being on the Dean's List, the Lever Mellon Crew, which is an organization dedicated to raising funds and awareness to pediatric cancer research, and then my internships. So my first summer, I interned at Majestic Oaks Golf Club in Minnesota in their events department. And my second summer, I interned with the Minnesota chapter of the Make-A-Wish Foundation in their, as a Wish intern. And then my final summer, I interned in London with Samaritans First in their marketing department for their Operation Christmas Child Ministry. So my next objective would be a little bit different, but it would be growing socially. And my audience for this would be my friends. And my strategy would be prioritizing relationships and having fun in college. So the tactics for this looked a little bit different. But the first one would be mock rock. Every spring, I stayed up way too late and danced with my friends to perform at our school-wide dance competition. And a lot of really fun memories and relationships came out of that. I was also a student orientation services leader. So for this, I helped welcome in the incoming students with a lot of other orientation leaders that happened to be here today and became some of my deepest and greatest friendships. Then I also traveled a lot, which was really fun. Allie and I went to Australia last spring, which was really awesome. Went to 6 different countries and 10 different states for various reasons. And we did so many different camping and road trips and weekend getaways that I could count. I really saw California for all that it's worth in my time here, and I don't regret it at all. And then my last objective would be to growing spiritually. So my audience for this one would be God, And my strategy would be to take advantage of everything that Biola offers for me to grow as a Christian. And there was a lot of different tactics that I did to try to make this objective successful. So my first one would be my mission trip to India. My sophomore year, I went to Calcutta, India with 9 girls, and we worked with sex trafficking survivors for a month. And then I also went to what feels like a million chapels and got a minor in Bible. I was also a volunteer for Missions Conference in the Marketing and Hospitality Department, where I worked with missionaries and welcomed them in as they came to Biola. And then spiritual direction was my personal favorite, where my sophomore year I got introduced with my spiritual director, who we met monthly and we talk about what God's doing in my life and how I can apply it to my life. So we still meet today. And then my church life group. So my church life group was a complete accident. I went to a life group thinking it was the one that all my friends were going to, but found out I had gone to the wrong life group. And so I didn't plan on being involved or staying, but all of these older couples have taken me in and really made me feel like my church is a home. So the next step here is implementation. This step in the RPI is really the action process in this step where you actually do everything that you planned out to do and you communicate it with your audiences. And so while this might be the shortest step of my presentation today, this step of the RPI has really been 3.5 years in the making. It's come in, or I've been implementing since my freshman year, the moment I stepped on campus. This has been all the meetings and the emails and the decisions I've tried to make where I wanted to invest my time at Biola. This is also the step where you communicate with your audiences in your message delivery and schedule a time to present to your client the results and your plan. So I'm so grateful that my message delivery happens to be right now, a very rare time where all of my audiences are in the same room. And it's really fun to have that happen and to see that in real life. Implementation is also the section where you'd put the budget in, but for obvious reasons, I decided to not include my college tuition in my presentation today. So with that, we're going to move into the last step of the RPI, which is evaluation. Here we'll look at the data and analyze what went well for me and what didn't go that well. And so numbers are really important in evaluation, so let's start with a few examples of my own numbers of college. Since I started college, I've received 17,547 emails. I've gained 479 new Facebook friends. I've done 114 class credits. I've been on 51 different flights, and I've been in 22 different involvements or things. As you can see, I tried a lot of different things with my time here. I just really wanted to get a taste of a little bit of everything to see what stuck and what was I passionate about, what did I love, and where did I see myself after graduation. I've absolutely loved my time in college, but it hasn't all been perfect. All PR campaigns don't go the way that you plan. A PR professional is always having to adjust along the way and be flexible. So while I've loved my time at Biola and I've had amazing memories and experiences, it wasn't all a walk in the park. These 4 years have challenged me in more ways than I expected as well. And I think those can be broken down into 3 things. First was overcommitment. I said yes to everything and anything that came my way. And last spring, it just kind of became too much. And I realized that this wasn't the best use of my time, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. It resulted in a lack of sleep, a lot of pressure and stress on my end that it didn't have to be there. So I quit 5 things going into this school year. And that was a lot, and it was hard. But it's something that turned out to be really valuable for me. Second would be rejection. I applied for a lot of leadership positions on campus that I didn't get. Things that I thought I'd be a great fit for, that I was excited about, that I didn't get chosen for. So I had these ideas and plans that I had to adjust, and I had to go on accordingly, and that was hard. And then lastly was my missions trip to India. This trip is the single most experience that's changed my life. It was the hardest month of my life, and I really struggled returning back from this trip after seeing some of the suffering I witnessed and coming back to school. It impacted my college experience both extremely negatively, but ultimately ended up being an extremely positive learning experience. So while these things are really hard to talk about and not something that I thought I'd be presenting about, I think it's really necessary to bring these up in order to get a full picture of what my college experience really was. Even though these things were hard, I think the successes really outweighed the failures, if you could say. I got to do so many fun things, and they wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for these hard things that happened. I think the successes could be broken down into 3 different things. 1, relationships. I got to develop relationships with the most amazing people, whether it be friendships or roommates or professors. I really met the most amazing people in my time here. Second, experiences. I got to travel the world and see beautiful things and do things I never thought I would have the courage to do, but I did. And a lot of it was scary, but it was so fun. And I've absolutely loved that part of college. And third, I grew. I grew in my profession, I grew in my personal growth, and I grew in God's word. And I wouldn't change that for anything. Now, all of these things, the successes and the failures, have really led me to found my passion. I came into Biola very unsure of what I wanted to do with my life and where I was called, but I'm leaving with a really strong call of nonprofit leadership. So like all good evaluation parts, you need to have an outcome. Did you really accomplish your goal statement that you set out in the beginning to accomplish or not? And although it wasn't all easy and it didn't all go according to plan, I would say that I successfully accomplished my goal of growing as a person and leader professionally, academically, socially, and spiritually within my 4 years as a student at Biola. Now it's important to look towards the future with your client. If you're going to work with them again, it's important that you take all the knowledge that you gained in your first client or in your first campaign with them and move it into the next one and figure out how you can make those connect. So I hope to apply everything that I learned in college into the next step of my life as well. After a positive conversation with Samaritan's Purse this week, it looks like I'll be going abroad with them next fall to pursue a career in international relief nonprofit work. So today we applied the steps of a public relations RPI to my life. We researched my background, looked at my goals in the planning section, looked at the action process and the implementation, and overall evaluated the experience. To conclude, I want to end with my thank yous like any successful PR professional would do. It's important that you send your thank you notes, send your gifts, and really express your gratitude to all the people that made your campaign a success and possible. So first I want to thank you to my professors, Dr. Kim and Professor Sinclair, and the dozens of others who have really made my time here amazing. You guys have pushed and challenged me in more ways than I could count. Thank you to my friends, gosh, who have been a constant source of fun and encouragement and inspiration to me. And thank you to my parents, my grandma, my sister, and the rest of my family who have constantly cheered me on and allowed me to pursue all of the crazy dreams I've come up with in the last 4 years. I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for all of you. As I reflect on my past and look forward to my future, this quote from Lyman Stewart, one of Biola's founders, perfectly sums up my ultimate goal in life and everything that Biola brought to me. Let it be our hope and prayer that from this place shall radiate streams of influence, which will be a blessing not only to the multitudes around us, but also to the darkest places of the earth. I'll now be taking time for questions. Thank you.